What's up, YouTube? How you doing? It's your boy back with another one. Guys, today I want to talk about the rebel situation that's happening all across the globe, right? Now you get to understand that a lot of things happen because of outside influences, right? So how can it be that it's 2024 now and the rebel situation all over Africa seems to be getting worse? Most importantly, it's like the Janjaweed and the M23 rebels and the Al Shabaab group that is happening all up the East Coast and including the um, the insurgency that's happening in Mozambique. What's happening with all these rebel groups and why are they not dying out, guys? What is happening? Who's funding them? What are they fighting for? And most importantly, what is the aim? What is the end goal for these rebel groups? Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we're family, right? Holla! To the So people, so we all know about and we've all heard about the M23 rebel group, right? Apparently, some sources say M23 is not a rebel group, but actually M23 are soldiers, armed forces of the Rwanda government. And they have been fighting in the eastern part of the DRC for the longest of time now, right? Destabilizing the eastern part of the DRC. Then we have the Janjaweed, which has now become the rapid what? RSF, the Rapid Special Forces in Sudan, right? So, question is, guys, and then we have obviously the Al Shabaab group that's happening in Mozambique, or a group linked to Al Shabaab. They also call Al Shabaab, right? People, this is my question. These rebel groups, who's funding them? What is the objective? Who who is who is um who is the instigator? I mean, is it are they funded by businesses? Is it outside forces? Now we do know for a fact that countries such as France, uh, the United States of America, the UK, for example, some guys by saying the UAE also. The UAE. I was shocked to learn in my research and watching TikTok videos and people confirming this that the UAE is actually funding the RSF. Dude, this is big. This is big. I mean, guys, let's be real. Let's start with the Sudan, right? Let's start with the Sudan. Al Bashir ruled Sudan for a very long time, right? He was the dictator, Al Bashir, right? So when he was this deposed of his position, right, it was becoming a power play between the Janjaweed and the army generals. That, so it was like two forces that had come together to get rid of Al Bashir. Now we all know how that turned out to be, right? Because then there was this power vacuum and they both wanted power. Now, yes, the two groups are now fighting each other, right? And the massacre and the atrocities being committed by the RSF in Sudan is beyond measure, right? It's almost similar to what's happening in Gaza, but it's not on that scale simply because they do not have the jets and they do not have those type of ammunition and the rockets and the missiles and the bombs and stuff. But these people have military grade weapons. And the sad reality, to be honest, the atrocities against the citizens, the ordinary civilians, that's like in any war, that's bad, right? But what's even worse, What I found out, dude, is like the mass suicides that the women and the young girls are committing in Sudan. They would rather kill themselves than being captured and raped. Dude, that's a lot. That is a lot. That is definitely a lot. Can you imagine that, right? Then we go over to DRC, the Eastern Congo, the M23 rebels, which people have claimed and said they are not rebels, but they are army officers of the Rwanda government. This is a huge claim, guys. This is a huge claim. Now, my question comes to that. These groups have been operating for a long period of time, right? So, where is the East community bloc of countries? Why are they standing by and watching and doing nothing? First question. Okay. Second question. Where is the AU and the African Union Force? Where are they? Right? That's the second pertinent question that needs to be asked. Thirdly, where is the UN peacekeeping missions? Right? So, are you telling me that these groups, including Al Shabaab in Mozambique, can operate with impunity without the regional blocs first stepping in? So, let's come down to SADC, where South Africa is a member, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Namibia, Botswana, Malawi, I think DRC, Eswatini and Lesotho, Zambia also, Angola. Yeah. Now, we do know that Rwanda was brought in to Mozambique to quell the Al Shabaab insurgency. Okay, that we know of. But the thing is, were they effective? Why was only Rwanda supplying soldiers? We were the others. Why are the others not doing the same? And if they are doing the same, why are they not suppressing this group? I mean, you telling me about 13 or 15 or 17 Southern African countries are failing to crush a rebel group. Okay, let's say that is the way things stand. 15, 16 countries cannot stop a rebel group. Then, then we got to ask, why? So it's obviously that the rebel group has possibly more firepower than what these SADC countries have. And if it comes down to firepower, who is supplying that firepower to the rebel group, right? If it's not just firepower, then it's also money, it's funding. Who is behind this? So, question comes now to outside forces because there's no country in Africa that will be financially financially capable of waging a war of this magnitude, right? That can stand up to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 countries. I mean, come on. Not even South Africa can wage such a war against 14, 15 countries. They just don't have the budget or the military capabilities to wage such a war against 14 or 15 countries, let alone 4 or 5 countries. Right. All roads, according to research, all roads, all roads lead to one thing. So, outside influence. Again, these people are getting funded from foreign companies. So, guys, the biggest question that everyone seems to want to know is who is the main culprit, the main company behind this? We all know the countries behind it, but now it's not government per se. It's got government assistance for sure, but there are companies that are in the forefront that are waging these wars with these rebel groups. Isn't that an amazing thing, right? So, if outside countries have an agenda for Africa, isn't it only right and isn't it only fair that Africa also has an agenda for the Western countries or for the Middle East countries that are waging wars in the Sudan, like the UAE, for example? which is a well-known fact now that even the Sudanese people have come to talk openly about that it's the UAE-backed RSF that is committing massacres and massive um, genocide in Sudan. You know why, guys? Let us now look at Africa as a whole. Why can't Africa, as the AU, as I don't know, as members of Africa, why can't they all send about a hundred soldiers each to defeat these people once and for all? I mean, I don't think that's a big ask. You know what I mean? If each country, no matter how poor, gives at least, I'm sure each country, I'm looking at the scale of a country, if each country can give an equivalent of $1 million, just $1 million each, right? Guys, on a monthly basis, right? A million. It's $1 million, you know? At least minimum 500,000 for those that can't afford the 1 million. It will go a long way to quelling something at least, or having an impact on something. If you can't give money, then at least give weapons. Do you know what I'm saying? Guys, something has to be done other than just idling and watching people massacre and people die. That's totally really unfair, guys. Let me know what you think about those comments about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know how we do, right? You know we family, right? Allah. So let's get into the cons. The cons of having rebel groups on the continent, operating on the continent. If there's any if there's any, let's go into the pros first. Pros, sorry. Let's get into the pros. One, the pros of having rebel groups on the continent. I think it would be if they were fighting a just fight and they were fighting against outside forces, then rebel groups are more than welcome. You know, if rebel groups are going to assist other forces of good on other continents or fighting against forces of evil on the continent, then rebel forces would be great. But that's not what rebel forces are normally known for, right? Normally. Okay. Secondly, pros. Guys, there isn't pros when it comes to having rebel groups at all because rebel groups basically function to steal natural resources. That's what they're mainly fighting for, right? In the Eastern DRC, they're fighting for those cobalt mines. In Sudan, they're fighting for control of the oil fields. And in Mozambique, I think they're fighting for there's something that they found up north, and that's what they're fighting for. So it's the fight for natural resources, and then obviously attach that to political power. But the main thing that they're fighting for is obviously the natural resources, which then obviously lead then to the political power struggle. You understand what I mean? So how else do they fund these wars if they're not using and stealing from the natural resources? Do you get what I mean? So if we look at Nigeria's rebel groups, for example, the guys that are fighting the oil companies, that is a different type of warfare because if you listen to those rebel groups, you well, they're not called rebel groups. They call pirates, right? They call them pirates, or they call yeah, they call pirates. If you listen to their stories are like the oil companies come in, drill oil. They don't even look after. They don't even pay back to the normal to the. They don't even pay back to the local economy. They don't even pay to the to sustain the local people. They don't even do anything to assist them. They come in, mine, take the oil, sabotage the rivers and the lakes that the normal people, the ordinary citizens, live off of, and then now they can't even fish because normally these are done in fishing villages, right? So they cause, if you listen from the pirates' point of view, then it makes total sense that these people are fighting a just war against these companies that are just in there to loot and to take and not give anything back. That's fine. That makes sense. But in the case of the RSF and the case of Al Shabaab, What are they fighting for? You know what I'm saying? Why are they killing innocent civilians? Why don't they have specific targets, like political targets, military targets? Why targeting the civilians? Because the pirates in Nigeria, they're targeting the oil tankers, they're targeting the oil companies, they're targeting the oil rigs. They're not killing citizens, they're not killing the civilians. They're targeting the oil companies, the culprits who actually ruin their environment and their ecosystem. So why can't these rebel groups do the same thing? Why can't you target the military, the government that you're fighting for? Why are you killing the villagers and unarmed people? So there is no pros in this. The only pro would be if they were doing like what the pirates are doing in Nigeria. Then there'll be a pro that someone is fighting for the ecosystem and someone is fighting for the villages and for the livelihood that's being destroyed or that has been destroyed. That will be the only pro there is. But unfortunately, other than that, there is no pros. Guys, let me know what you think, man. Yeah, next we get into the cons. You know how we do. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holla. Guys, the cons of these rebel groups. One, in most cases, brother killing brother. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. In most cases, it's same religion people. It's neighbors killing neighbors. It's countrymen killing countrymen. It's not even outside forces coming to interfere in inside uh, issues. No, bro. It's just it's almost barbaric to think that Africa in 2024 allows such actions to persist. You know, all because of greed, corruption, um, nepotism, jealousy, hatred, tribalism. All these things add up, and that's how rebel groups are formed. It starts with one small little thing. It takes one village idiot to inspire the rest to conspire and then set the wheels in motion. It's you know what's even shocking? What's even worse is that some of these rebel groups even recruit young boys to fight as young as 5, 7 years old to work in the gold mines and coal mines and cobalt mines and you name it. That's even worse sickening. Then they even kidnap young girls as young as 12, 11, 9 years old, 6 years old, and use them as sex slaves. I mean, guys, no, no, this is this is not right. It's not fair. It cannot it cannot be going on in 2024. The simple use of children as child labor, the simple use of young girls as young as 6, as young as 5, as young as 4, as young as 9, as sex slaves cannot be tolerated in 2024. It just does not make sense at all, guys. It just cannot make sense at all. And we're saying now it's still 2024. If it was way back in the 60s or 70s, we could still say we were struggling from, I don't know, drunken states of of independence and all that. But now it's 2024. What's the excuse now? We've had, we've been in power. We've been the first country that were liberated was in the 60s. I think 1963. It was like Ghana, I think. Was it Ghana, the first country that was liberated? Ghana or Nigeria, one of the two. And you telling me it's 2024 now. So we've learned nothing. We've, we don't know how to develop our brains to become sophisticated like the first world. Are you telling me that? No, guys, come on. So, cons of these rebel wars, guys: devastation to communities, devastation to economies, like local economies. Everything gets affected, everything comes to a standstill. I mean, Guys, the effect of war, right? It's hard to recover from war. It's difficult. It takes time to recover from war. Economies, people's lives, livelihoods, um, families, what else? Ecosystems, systems, everything gets demolished. And to rebuild those systems takes time. And while you're taking time, people are starving, people are dying, no jobs, no work, people resort to crime. And it spirals out of control that it gets to a point where some countries do not even recover. I mean, to this day, I mean, Somalia is still regarded as a failed state. And once you get to the status of failed statehood, guys, it's almost virtually impossible to come back from that. Not that it's impossible, but it's going to take greater effort, greater minds to overcome those things. You know what I'm saying? So it's sad and it's bad and it's unthinkable. It's that it's 2024 and Africa is still fighting each other. It's still in the throes of wars. And I mean, when is it all going to end for Africa? Will Africa ever know peace? Will Africa ever know what it feels like just to be happy and to be to be jovial and to not worry, not stress that someone somewhere is out to get them and someone out there wants to kill them, maim and do all this loot and guys, will Africa ever get to enjoy its natural resources or its beauty or its abilities and its potential? Because everyone keeps saying Africa is the sleeping giant that's just waiting to be awakened. And they've been saying it now for the past, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years. Surely that time has to be in our lifetime. Surely that time has to be within the century. If not now, then when? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Holla.